Welcome back to Inside Training Camp Live, presented by Mitsubishi Motors. 42 days until kickoff of the 2018 season, but the Hall of Fame game is right around the corner. That is when we're going to get a chance to see Joe Flacco, who has not had the best last couple of years. Last season, the 25th rated passer in the NFL. One reason the Ravens drafted Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Lamar Jackson in the first round. So Flacco trying not to be looking over his shoulder. That is something that was touched on in his sit-down interview with our Hall of Famer Kurt Warner and Super Bowl winning quarterback, former Ravens head coach Brian Billick. Take a listen.
It's been a while since the Ravens have been on top of the division, but they're still led by a Super Bowl MVP quarterback in Joe Flacco, who joins us right now. First question for you. Do you still look forward to training camp? Do you still get excited, or is it one of those, man, you got the Hall of Fame game, you're here for an extra week, you'd rather just kind of push that back, or do you enjoy coming back?
Hey, I think everybody has thoughts about training camp, but when you get out here and you get on the field, it's so much fun. I mean, you gotta take it in and realize that, every year that you're in the NFL and how special that is. And I have a lot of fun out here, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, when you talk about the transition that this team makes, we just saw the bit. Obviously, once again, you got a kind of a new group of wide receivers. That extra week that you're going to have actually can be a benefit for you in terms of you guys getting on that familiar same wavelength for you to have that special rapport that it takes for a quarterback and his receivers.
Yeah, I think John did a good job with us the first week because we were here so early, and he allowed us to kind of get a lot of skilled work done and not killing the old guys in practice, but letting them kind of get together. He allowed me to get together with those receivers even more and kind of just get going a little bit early, working things out, talking to them, and I think it'll definitely prove to be useful, in a couple weeks.
You talked about your excitement to come back to training camp. A lot of that has to do with health, I'm sure. The last couple training camps, you've missed some time with some of the different injuries that you've had. How do you feel physically at this point?
I feel great. I mean, and last year was really the one. The year before that, I was excited too because I was coming off of my knee, and I think it was only 8 months at the time. But I was practicing and everything. But that was, it was definitely different than I've ever, kind of been a part of in my first 9 years. So first 8 years, these last couple years haven't been ideal. I don't think there's anything that's ever completely perfect, but this year's definitely setting up nice and feeling good about how it's going.
You both know, obviously, this Hall of Famer knows a quarterback's best friend is a tight end. And you've had some pretty good ones. A lot of productivity with the Dennis Pittas and Eric Dickerson, and obviously Benjamin Watson. You picked up a pretty good young group of tight ends here now, Hurst in the first round and then Andrews. Talk about that relationship and developing that rapport at that very special position at tight end that you guys seem to use a lot of two tight end formations.
Yeah, I think tight end's a big position for us all around because we got a bunch of guys at that position that can do a variety of things. We have the young guys that are, obviously probably considered more pass catchers, and we got the guys that have been here a few years that are considered more run blockers. But I think in this offense, we ask guys to do everything. And, when you come out here and you watch, they do a good job of doing everything. I mean, we didn't have the young guys out here as much today, and, Nick Boyle and Max Williams made a handful of catches and did some really good things in route. So it's always good to see that. It is a productive position, and we need it to be in this offense to make us go.
And you know that no matter how long you play this game, you always have to be looking for ways to improve. I'm sure you're the first one to admit, haven't played your best football the last couple years. What are you looking at this year? What do you say coming into training camp? This is where I have to be better so we can break that 3-year string of not being in the playoffs, and I can lead our team back there.
Yeah, it's just consistency. I mean, I think when you look at the last 2 years, the second halves of our season have been better, but we've been playing catch up, and it's because that consistency hasn't been there. So I just think we have to come out fired up and confident from the very beginning, and we have to let that kind of carry us through the first couple games. Just be super excited and use some of this talent that we have, this game-breaking talent that we have. I think if we can combine some of that talent, getting up the field with the new guys and play at a more consistent level throughout 16 games, then, you're not going to be perfect for all 16 of them. But, if you're not fighting uphill from week 4 on, you definitely give yourself a better fighting chance.
Before we let you go, we got to ask you about Lamar Jackson and him coming here. I was in the situation a couple times as a veteran where they go and draft what a lot of people think is the next guy. How do you play the season avoiding feeling any of that pressure or looking over your shoulder and saying, I can't worry about anybody else, I got to just play? But how do you do that? Because we're all human.
Yeah, I mean, I really can't worry about it. That's all out of my control, man. The only thing that's in my control is going out there and playing football the way I know how to do it and, leading this team back to the playoffs. And, that's all I'm focused on, is making that happen, not anything else. So I think if I keep my head down and look at it that way, then I won't have to hear anything about it.